Plane spotting at Chicago O'Hare is always a blast. Today we're going to be spotting during a layover, and we were able to catch some really cool special liveries and wide bodies during this quick layover. I hope all of you are excited for this, and let's go ahead and jump into it, everybody. Plane spotting at Chicago O'Hare is always a blast. Today we're going to be spotting during a layover, and we were able to catch some really cool special liveries and wide bodies during this quick layover. I hope all of you are excited for this, and let's go ahead and jump into it, everybody. Welcome everybody to Chicago O'Hare International Airport. I really hope all of you are excited for this quick layover plane spotting session on the way to Oshkosh 2023. We catch a bunch of really cool special liveries, and we don't really need any more of an introduction for O'Hare. It's one of the coolest airports in the United States, and I think this thumbnail image really does a good job showing that off. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So as you can see right here, we had the iconic American 737-800 in their Astrojet livery pulling off of the runway here. We have just arrived on a beautiful July morning here, and as you can tell, we do have some haze in the area, but that won't take away from the amazing captures that we get. So here's Astrojet, and we also have the Etihad Airbus A350 in the background too, which is a really cool catch. So on top of that, some more aircraft from the Middle East, including an Air India Boeing 777, and then even some Asia offerings like the ANA Boeing 777 over there in the back, and then we even have the Ethiopian Boeing 787 too. So safe to say, any time of the day, you can always catch really cool traffic at O'Hare, and Astrojet really making its case known here in this particular case. So that was really cool. But the crazy part is this is just the beginning of the American 737 heritage liveries, as we'll see quite a few here in a moment. So yeah, I really like this image right here for a couple of reasons. Number one, we got the beacon going on, so that's really cool. But you can also note that the Reno Air Heritage 737 is in the foreground of this image as well. So safe to say, you're always going to capture some really neat shots, especially if you're in an aircraft. Obviously, these E170 windows were a little bit dirty, but that doesn't take away from the significance of these captures. So anyway, looking really nice, and definitely out to a hot start here at Chicago O'Hare. So that was a really cool first catch. Let's see what we can get next. So back to the international gates here, you can see what I was talking about. You got three of those Middle East offerings all right next to each other, which was quite fitting. Ethiopian's close enough. I think it's same region area, you know, obviously different continent, but pretty close. So we'll just go ahead and say that it is. But then you obviously had the ANA as well to kind of put in the vibe too. So that's really cool. This was Ethiopian 787-8. These are pretty darn tough to catch in North America, so feeling really fortunate to get that. There are a handful, but I think O'Hare is one of the few airports that has received it in the last several years, so pretty cool to see that. And then here's the next special livery that I was talking about. Another Heritage 737 for American Airlines. This time it's the classic TWA color scheme, one of my favorites. This aircraft's looking as strong as ever here over there by, I think those were the K gates, although I couldn't really tell from a glance. And then of course you have a nice variety of aircraft over here. These are the K gates right here, excuse me. So you can see here all the narrow bodies and even a Dreamliner back there where they parked them over there on the high K gates. So that's quite cool. Even a couple Spirits fitting in there too. So plenty going on. So actually, yeah, that was at the K gate there for TWA, but this shot was also nice just to see both TWA and Reno in the same image, so that's cool. Also, Piedmont 145 over there looking strong. Those have been flooding in and out of Chicago pretty inconsistently, but this is definitely a great overview of what American traffic looks like at Chicago O'Hare in this shot. Okay, let's continue to proceed through, of course, really emphasizing that Ethiopian 787-8. Those are pretty tough to catch, and there's the E170 wing, so that's cool. So here's a little bit better of an image. You also got some Delta Ash in the background, which I think their presence at T5 has been pretty cool. Definitely adds some unique elements and diversity. Feel free to check out my Chicago O'Hare airport tour video, and we dive into what the T5 gates for them look like. They're quite cool, so that's awesome. Once again, we got a nice variety of traffic here for American Airlines, who's been a staple at O'Hare for a very long time. Here's one that's been a rather new staple, the Air Wisconsin CRJ-200s in the American livery. These obviously flew for United for quite a while, but now they're with American, and feel free to check out the trip report where we fly one of those. More traffic, but we finally got a little bit of variety with the Delta Airlines A220-100. Delta flies quite a few different aircraft types into O'Hare. The 220 is a very common one from cities like Salt Lake City, Detroit, Minneapolis, LaGuardia, JFK, Boston. I think like almost every route they have has it besides Atlanta. But as you can tell, 129 Delta uniform is looking wonderful, and absolutely wonderful to see that aircraft going strong. Really getting it with the beacons too. And keep in mind, we're just taxiing and just getting these through a plane window. So very happy with how these are turning out. Another cool component of O'Hare is definitely their ATC tower. It looks really cool. It's a very unique color along with the design, which isn't completely uncommon to see it, you know, rise up like that and then tilt back in. But obviously with how the windows are placed and once again, the foundation, pretty unique. So that's cool. I think every ATC tower is kind of like that. But yet again, back with the special liveries, here we go. So as you can tell, we have plenty of American 170s here, but we can also find two of them in special liveries. The first one, which is in the back, is the Republic Airways house livery. They have three of those aircraft types. They're in the low 400 registrations for them. So that's one, and those are fairly common at O'Hare. You'll see those probably once a day or so. And then the Envoy Retro ERJ-170, which is also quite wonderful as well. So of course, there's just one of those, a little bit tougher to catch, but if you're at O'Hare or Dallas, you probably have a good chance of seeing it. So that's awesome to see right there lined up at the L gates. So looking quite cool. And then we have an American 737 to complement all that action. But yeah, definitely really cool to see that here at the L10 gates. A little fun fact for anybody curious, L10 used to actually be the gate where Qatar Airways would park. It was just L10, but they turned it into 3 regional gates, L10A, L10B, and L10C. Kind of unfortunate, but American Eagle needed more gates, so Qatar went back over to 5. So that's where we're at with that. As I was mentioning, Spirit parks on the other side of the L gates. Here's their Airbus A320neo looking quite wonderful, and you'll also see another Airbus back there behind it, and an American 737 for good measure. Spirit's really expanded over time at O'Hare, and they use these 4 gates, L5 through 11, pretty consistently. Also note how unique L11's bridge is. It goes all the way out, pretty much almost to the edge of the taxiway, and then angles back in. A really cool design and plan there to capitalize on that, because obviously they needed a little bit more room for a mainline aircraft to put the bridge there. If it was a regional, it probably would have been a little bit simpler, but airport planning and logistics at its finest, so thought that was pretty cool. But right next to gate L5 is where we parked at gate L3, so we're actually going to be back here in just a moment, as this aircraft 764 Delta November that I flew actually picked me up and dropped me off here, going to Tulsa both ways at the exact same gate, which was quite a cool story. So that was awesome. 764 is definitely my favorite 170 for that. Kind of silly, but I flew it twice and literally from the same gate on the exact same route, just flip-flops, so can't really beat it. It's pretty cool. So I had about an hour layover here going on to Appleton, Wisconsin to go to Oshkosh 2023. So we were able to catch some really cool aircraft, including this JetBlue ERJ-190. This is Look at Blue Now. It's November 203 rather, Juliet Bravo. What's cool about this is they don't get many E190s anymore. They're getting quite a few A320s and A220s and A320s. So it was quite cool to catch this here. They fly to Boston, I believe, still JFK and maybe LaGuardia, but anyway, they fly to some combination of those. So that's a great catch right there. A little wore out, but still trying to find one way if I somehow could get a JetBlue 190. I was supposed to fly one from Boston, Syracuse in an upgauge to a 320, so I busted on that offering, but who knows? Maybe I'll get one more chance at it. We'll see. But anyway, here's our aircraft. It's November 416 Alpha Whiskey, which is a 22-year-old at time of this picture CRJ-200 for Air Wisconsin. So very cool. You can see all United's regionals in the background, quite a few 550s and quite a few 200s as well. So those are pretty common sightings there at the F gates. Speaking of those 200s, there's one pulling into the gate right there, looking pretty strong. And since we were about to board, I ended up spotting this alleyway for the duration of my layover because that was the best option. Here's an old livery SkyWest CRJ-200, and we even got a pretty darn good shot of this Copa Airlines 737 MAX 8 blasting into the skies. Copa flies to Panama City, I think twice a day in the peak time, so that's pretty cool. So looking strong there for Copa Airlines. And 964 Sierra Whiskey was that CRJ-200 that we just saw pushing, so here it goes. I honestly don't have a problem with these. I wouldn't mind getting on one more if I can, the SkyWest ones, that is. So we'll see if that's a possibility in the future. Here's the United Airbus 319 old livery. And this was kind of a tough spot to get really good shots because obviously O'Hare is always doing construction work, it seems like. So that's exactly what we have here. But we do have a 737-700 and a little bit better of a gap right there. So that's pretty cool, with its sister ship Airbus A320 behind it. So all that's looking nice. You also got a cool FedEx logo to supplement it. Here's a 757-300 taking off. These are some of my favorite planes to catch at O'Hare, all the United 757s, a couple 76s, and then the 787s too. And the Airbus A319, really cool jello shot and not bad for taking pictures through an at an angle through glass. I was pretty happy with how all this turned out with all the circumstances considered. Also really good highlighting there, that taxiway construction. Those are major infrastructure projects and they're always doing them at O'Hare, it seems like. So here's the United 737-900ER. This one's in the Evo blue color scheme. It's 37468. Looking strong. You'll catch several of those regularly, so that's nice. Another Air Wisconsin CRJ-200. So yeah, you'll see plenty of these throughout these G and F gates. That's not surprising, but it's always cool to see it from a different perspective than where we normally spotted O'Hare, somewhere outside the airport. There's a Delta A220-100 taxiing out, and we have another United 737-900ER looking quite strong too. And here is that Evo 739 that went around, so I'm not exactly sure what they were doing there, but that's pretty cool. plenty of 175s to be found for United as well at O'Hare, as we know. Here's this one taxiing out for departure, and we catch our first Air Wisconsin Retro CRJ 200 of the day. I believe they have 4 of these, but it's 454 Alpha Whiskey. I personally think it's a really nice scheme, and I'm kind of glad they painted it on several aircraft. It's kind of cool to catch it more often, and I think many people have got a chance to fly it once, if not multiple times, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, it looks really nice. I think it's a great scheme. Really reflects on like their BA 146 that they had, and I think they may have had some other aircraft with delivery too, so that's pretty cool to reflect on. Obviously not even close to my childhood, but it's still cool for all the folks that did see it and may remember it, so that's awesome, and including us that are always interested in learning about it. Here's a 319, the Evo Blue taken off, and then we have another SkyWest CRJ 200 looking quite strong. Here's a SkyWest 175 taxiing out for departure, and here's a 737-800 Continental Globe. I really enjoy catching all the hybrids here with all the different engine cowlings, and obviously the old livery, new livery. Definitely take advantage while you can now. I've been seeing more and more Evos as time moves forward, so I bet this livery will become dormant here probably in about 2 years or so. Very similar story to Canyon Blue, so definitely catch them while you can. There's plenty of their 175s here for SkyWest, so never going to miss an opportunity to get those. And there goes the Delta 220-100. Pretty long roll, but looking strong. Another 175 for United Express. They're really great planes to fly on as well, so that's another benefit of that. And now we have boarded up, and we're going to be taking it to Oshkosh or obviously the Appleton to go to Oshkosh, to be a little bit more particular. We got Atlas 747-8 Freighter, looking very nice. Very cool aircraft. And we got that ANA 777-300 heading back out to Tokyo, so quite an interesting time for that to depart. A little early, obviously, out of O'Hare, but kind of lines up with how many frequencies they have. I think they got 3 or 4, so there's definitely more than enough justification to do an earlier flight in the day, typical to what unusual rather to what they normally would do. There's a Envoy 170 looking strong with that Hilton Hotel in the back. It's pretty cool. You got the American 737 there, H-18. Another SkyWest CRJ 200. The former Endeavor aircraft have the EV prefix, by the way, so if you see that, that's what's going on there. You got a Korean Airboeing 777-300ER loading up. This is a cool route here at the airport, I think. And you also got that Etihad aircraft looking strong. Okay, and then back here at the rest of the Terminal 5 gates, you can tell that we obviously have some interesting traffic relative to what we would normally see, especially in like the afternoon, but a little bit lighter on traffic, but we still have some cool aircraft. A Japan aircraft going out to Tokyo as well. No surprise to see that. The first flight for Turkish of the day, typically they arrive later in the day at the U.S. airports, but due to so much Star Alliance demand, they have an earlier flight in the day, so that's really cool. This is a really early flight, so that's pretty impressive. You got the Frontier E321. It looks like that might be the Badger. I can't tell from here, but it looks pretty cool. Delta 220 once again, and 2 Southwest aircraft. The Southwest continues to go strong at O'Hare, which is great. And that takes us straight into Appleton, Wisconsin, and I'll leave all these pictures for the airport video, so excited for that. But it's a really neat airport, as you can tell by this picture, and they're doing construction work too, so that's quite wonderful. But plenty of Legion other aircraft. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take it into our return flights and see what we saw taxiing into O'Hare coming back from Oshkosh. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Chicago O'Hare. So it's about 5 days later, and the sun is a little bit brighter this time, not as much haze, so that's awesome. So we're going to be able to get some cool shots. So we landed on the north side coming from Appleton, and we took the long way around the taxi all the way down. So that gave us plenty of time to catch some cool planes. Beginning with this Delta 757-200 with winglets in the what is this even called? I don't even know what you would want to call this. So the walls of fame, I guess. Anyway, though, you have some other cool cargo offerings as they park over there on the north side, an Atlas 747-400, and also is it Aero Union? I'm sorry, these pictures are so bad through the window, but I think it's an Aero Union 762. Pretty sweet. But anyway, this Delta 757 wall of fame, I don't know what we were doing here, but probably waiting for a gate, to be honest, but that's a pretty cool angle for it regardless. And then we get on the front lit side here where we get some much better images. I absolutely love in the summer where you can get these shots where the fuselage is still nicely lit, but also you get the fan blades illuminated, at least on one side. It's pretty darn cool. This image is a really great example of what that looks like, just Gen 2 757. It's a great shot there. Really, really cool catch, and want to fly as many of these as possible. Feeling fortunate to have flown, I think, 3 Delta 75s now. So yeah, they're really fun. They have really awesome capabilities, and it's a really great time. So feeling very fortunate to see that one. Really great. It's 6711 mic, and you also get the CRJ 200 winglet in the wall of fame. So quite interesting placement for it, but hey, as long as they're enjoying it, that's great. Okay, so here is the north side of the C and B gates. You can see United's large operation here of all their mainline planes, even some wide bodies over there at the C gates as well. Looks really cool. Plenty of Airbuses. I also note some 737s down the pipe as well. This frame definitely shows more 737s. I think we got a couple 7.8s, maybe a triple even in there as well, which is pretty sweet. There's the Chicago skyline with Southwest at the wrong airport, kind of joking, but there's a 700 right there looking strong. Okay, here's a really good shot of those Airbuses again, and we got 2 regional jets on either side. So definitely some really nice versatility here with the different liveries. I think it's pretty cool how it goes. Let's see, old, new, old, new. Kind of interesting layout there, but it's pretty sweet. Nice, you know, unintentional coordination there by the guys. So that was pretty cool. There's a Delta 717 looking strong. Really cool to see those continuing to make the rounds, although I guess that would have landed on the north side from like MSP and taxied all the way around like us, I suppose. I don't know why it would be all the way over here, but regardless, pretty cool effort. And we have a variety of regionals down there at the other side too. There's that pesky Envoy 170 Retro once again. It always finds a way to sneak in, so that's pretty cool. We'll get better shots here in a moment as it was landing somewhere in from the north as well. I definitely want to note that 727. I know we've talked about it before, but that's for fire training. That's been on the O'Hare ramp for years now. So anytime you're flying into O'Hare and you're on the west side of the field, definitely stay on the lookout for it. It's over there by all those light poles on the ramp, so it's pretty sweet. But anyway, the Envoy 170 was the focus of that frame, and it wasn't the best shot, but hey, we still got it. This is kind of a cool one to really highlight B and C gate infrastructure and how great that glass design looks. It's honestly very unique, and I think that it's one of the coolest designs in the United States. So definitely make an effort to see that sometime if you ever get a chance to. There's a United 738 old livery once again, which is a wonderful scheme. You also got an American 738 back there too, so that's pretty cool. Another great shot of that facility, really highlight it once again. Got Envoy trying to get as many shots of that as possible. SkyWest has a large hangar at O'Hare, and obviously this picture is really cool to note. The Delta 175, the United 175, and the American 700 all hanging out. I think it's pretty cool. Maybe one day we'll be able to get some sort of tour of it, whether it's for like an Airlines International or whatever it may be. So that would be a cool one to check out. There's the Evo Blue Starlines United 737. This aircraft hasn't made an appearance in a spotting video in a little while, although I do think it was in the last Chicago one. So cool to see this aircraft. It's always a treat, even though once again these shots weren't the prettiest. We still got to catch it. So O'Hare is definitely full of specials. It can be on or off or both. So this United 319 is looking strong though there. And there's American Airlines' hangar. They have a pretty large facility there too. I think they offered tours of it during AI 2022. I'm not sure if there's any videos out on it, but I remember seeing pictures, and it's a pretty cool facility, so that's great. Here's the United 319, really nice light there, illuminated by the sun on the west side, and there's Starlines, some great light, just a day and a dollar short on getting a good image of it, but that's fine. American Max, they fly these to a handful of cities like Orange County and a couple others, so it's cool to see this one going strong here. Also note the slope in the taxiway, kind of cool. Let's continue to that CRJ 200, also looking nice. And we got a logo on the winglet American 738. Very similar to the Delta deal with the fan blades illuminated. It's really cool. So that's great. And this shot's really cool. I know it's not in focus, but there's a couple pieces I want to note here. 1, 927 Alpha Tango is my first Delta 717 I flew, so I can't help but not mention that when I see it. 2, the Aer Lingus tail looks really nice. 3, we got the United 787 back there too. So that's a nice shot. So very cool. And Turkish at a more logical time of day. But of course, once again, this is the main flight of the day they have. They have other flights too. But that Delta 717 obviously I was highlighting for obvious reasons and got some really good images. So lucked out it was on the end. But really cool to see 2 717 tails lined up there. You'd think it would be ATL at that point. But we got 893 going with 927, which 893 sounds familiar now that I'm thinking about it. No way I flew that one too. I just want to check real quick. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but why not since we're here? Excuse that. That's not what I was going for. I need preview to come back to here. Let's get preview. There we go. Let's come back to this Google tab because I want to figure out, let's see if I can find it here. Where's my mouse? There it is. Okay. I want to figure out what we're doing here real quick, just so all of you have more clarity, because now I'm curious and I'm sure it's going to bug all of us if we don't figure it out. So let's figure it out real quick. Anyway, though, it's a great image, though. It's a good one to pause on and look at for a moment. Okay, so the truth lies in that did I fly this one or not? It sounds really familiar. Okay, 893 November was an American 737 that I flew. That is the case. But I actually flew 895, so really close. That was in July of 24 when I flew that one. So pretty close, but still really cool to catch both of these. So great image. How about that Swiss 777-300? Man, lucked out with this shot. That was so cool. So you can tell how dirty the window is with that mark right there. But anyway, still got a really good shot. It's just where I was that 777. You can see the dirt from the L1 door and the L2 door along with the other dirt around it. So yeah, this aircraft's heading up the Zurich, of course. I think they fly double daily. Really strong offering there from Swiss. 333 is a wonderful airplane, so really cool to catch, and overall very happy to get some really good captures of that. So that's really cool. There's that other Delta 717 at Mach 3, and there's a cool sideways shot. Delta 320, they fly several of those in there, along with the 220 once again. There's an American Sear J200, looking strong as well. Then we have Turkish 333 with the Flying Food Group catering. That's great. So very nice to see that right there. There's that Envoy 170 once again. The anvil from the thunderstorm from the west is about to rain on our sun, but that's okay. Where it's a backlit shots. This was kind of a cool one though. I really like it. So what happened was our gate wasn't available, so we actually had to go sit on the stand, which is not uncommon at ORD, especially when it's summer and they're trying to coordinate it all. So shout out to the dispatchers for getting us in there eventually. But Envoy did the same, so that's what you're seeing here. Pretty cool with Southwest as well. And there is a really nice image of Southwest with the reflection and whatnot. A little bit dirty window, but we did the best that we could. I tried to get a good shot of it, but I really struggled. There's an Alaska 737-900ER. Alaska flies to Seattle and Portland, obviously. So that's pretty cool. They had a couple of other rinky-dink routes for a while, but I think it's just Seattle and Portland now. They may have San Francisco, but I think they operated the Boise at one time, which is pretty crazy. So Chester's always strong regardless, and then the sun goes behind the anvil, leading to our shaded shots of these American aircraft like that 170, 737-800 with the logo, another 737, a 737 MAX 8, and United A320 getting towed over probably to the United Airlines hangar, which is over there on the north side too. And we got this Delta 717, that's the one I flew, 927 Alpha Tango, taxiing out for departure. Very strong. Here's the Envoy Retro 170, Delta 717, and here's this Delta 717. Very strong, as I think we're finally taxiing to our gate now, which is great. There's a cool shot with the moon and the 320 pushing back. Nice little duo there. I love the colors from the horizon as well. It really adds some magnitude to shots. Retro Air Wisconsin for good measure. Delta 77200. This is 900 Papa Charlie, one of the most unique tail numbers in the fleet, even though the fleet code 691 is a little bit more standard. So yeah, very unique, and you can tell this one's real wore out. I'm not sure who they got this aircraft from, but I don't think it's theirs. It might be though, I don't know. Anyway, pretty cool though with the Aer Lingus and Turkish British Airways A380 tail. Missing the British Airways A380 at O'Hare now. We got the American 787, IK-19, one of my favorite gates. Then you got the 737-800, another 737-800, a 787-9, I think, looks like it. Anyway, cool shot there with the moon in the lineup of the aircraft. As we pull into the gate, that looks like a Dash 8. That's a Dash 9 right there for sure. 818 Alpha Lima, another 737-800, another 737-800. And that puts us right into our gate, which was K1. Looking strong. What a gorgeous plane. And my flight was boarding right as I was getting these, but I knew I had enough time. So I got a couple real quick. I didn't get the good wide angle, but on my phone, I got a really good wide angle with the moon of all the aircraft. The exposure was a little bit more balanced on the phone, so that's why I did that. But anyway, cool shot there. And that takes us on to our 170 back to Tulsa. So I really hope you all enjoyed this Chicago O'Hare plane spotting session from these couple of layovers. It was a great time catching all the various aircraft, and O'Hare's always a treat to see all the cool special liveries, heavies, and whatnot. So a bunch of O'Hare spottings coming up, so I hope all of you are excited for it. It's a great airport with so many various locations and opportunities for plane spotting. So I'm really excited to cover it all, and I hope each and every one of you are as well. It's wonderful and super excited for the future and what's to come. That being said, that'll do it for today's video, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank each and one of you for watching. My name is Redriveraviation. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust the process. Do you love and love you do. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as Redriveraviation is signing off.